Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Information is power.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
All right, everybody. Peace, everybody in the house. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Information is power. The Information
Tell the
Man
truth.
Show.
You are listening to Information.
Peace, everybody out there.
Make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Peace, everybody. I'm glad everybody is coming into the chat room. Thank you, everybody who has who's in the chat room, who's been supporting the program. I really appreciate it. I want to say what's up to everybody out there. We've got sister in we got a Nash and Company in the house. Peace to you. We got a Class Life in the house. Gold and Melanin is in the house. Peace to you. Dr. Dope Action. We got No Nonsense in the house. What's up, sister? She's by way of Sister J Dunn. And if she's in the house, peace to her. And another great, and I must say great supporter, and that is Back to the Basics. Thank you for being here this evening. I thought about doing this presentation this weekend, but it was heavily on my mind. I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I said, you know, I want to talk about it. I'm supposed to, on Saturday, be interviewing a brother that I know very well who is doing dynamic, and I mean dynamic, constructive things in a community in terms of nonprofits, creating an organization, working with youth. This is a black man. I mean, black people can do fantastic things when we put our mind to whatever we want to do. We have to be able to focus. And when we're able to focus and not be caught off by distractions, we can do anything that we put our minds to. So we got James in the house. He says, what's good, Info Man? Thank you. We got Try 510 in the house. Thank you for being here. So I'll keep an eye on the chat from time to time. Good folks in the house. I really appreciate it. This is the topic. I want to talk about this because this is hot button right now. This is not the subject that I'm going to talk about, but we do know that there's a well-known individual who has, as the reports are saying, that a young lady took her life on, who was a YouTuber. People know who she is, and I just want to say that, you know, I never want to see anybody take their life, commit any type of suicide, that are dealing with any depression and stress, because, you know, I deal with people every day in my work capacity who are struggling with depression, and it can lead to people taking their life. I have personally seen individuals attempt to take their life, and in some cases have taken their life in the midst of dealing with them over a long period of time. So I just want to put that out there to everybody out there. Take care of yourself, your mental health. That's why I don't personally like to see black people on YouTube in particular doxing and fighting against each other. I know things happen from time to time, but life is precious, and it's too precious to lose. And this is why I had to get into this subject matter. How many of you out there, and you can put a 1 in the chat room, all this talk about, and I'm going to open up the phone lines tonight if anybody wants to call in and open this discussion up further. But the question is this. Right now, we're in a country where we got the president who's telling us to put disinfectant up our asses, shoot some ultraviolet light. Look, you go outside, the sunlight, your body will absorb the sunlight's ultraviolet lights anyway, without question. But to be telling people to take things that are dangerous for your health is crazy. It's just indicative of what's happening in this country and the kind of leadership that we have, or lack of their leadership. But as all these states, Georgia, everybody's in a rush to get things back on track economically. But the question I must ask everybody listening and watching, at whose expense? If black people in this country, and they keep telling us this on the media, if we have the highest number when it comes to coronavirus, COVID-19, I mean, just right here, let me read something off to you. COVID-19 deaths are in New Orleans, where black Americans constitute 60% of the population. Slightly more than 70% of coronavirus deaths in Louisiana are African Americans. The state government, so African Americans are making up the majority of people that are dying of coronavirus in New Orleans. And we know that there are social reasons, there's economic reasons, there's all sort of reasons why these things are happening. Now, when you look at Chicago, you got 30% of black Americans, black people, that account for 70% of coronavirus cases in the city and more than half of the state's deaths. And you've got the prisons where brothers are being affected by the COVID-19 and have died. I had a video that YouTube took down. You all seen that video, hopefully, where a brother was in the federal pen telling word of count from his mouth and his cell phone, which he probably should have never had, according to the system. He took photos of what was happening, and of course, YouTube shut that down. Okay, I've been noticing more and more that YouTube is snatching up videos, and they're videos that are getting to the truth. We got Bonnie Dunn. Sister Dunn is in the house. Golden One. It's Sir Girl 2. All right, let me do here. Let me say peace to you, Sister Dunn, for being here. Peace. Peace to everybody. Let me turn up a little music in the background here. So, black people are making up all these numbers, 70% in Chicago, the prison system. Let me go over some other numbers, and I'll tell you, you're going to see where I'm going with what I'm saying. It all come together. When you look at the studies in the CDC in Georgia, where they want to, Governor Kemp has opened up Georgia opening up the barber shops. You got black people out there saying, you know, they got to get their hair cut. The barbers got to make their money. You even got religious men, the black church. You got reverends out there. You got jack-o'-leg preachers out there who are opening up their churches, and technically they're putting their own congregation, those that are doing this, at risk. Now, studies of the CDC said, which headquarters in Atlanta, surveyed 8 hospitals in the state, 7 in Atlanta metro area, and 1 southern Georgia, in a sample of 305 COVID-19 patients who were hospitalized in March. This was back in March. 247, or 83.2%, were black people. By comparison, the 32 patients, 10.8% were white, and 3.4% were Hispanic, and 2.7% were Asian or Pacific Islander. So even in Atlanta, Georgia, black people make up the majority of the cases according to the data that they're putting out there. Now in Maryland, and I've got family in Maryland, black people are about 31% of the population, but nearly 45% of the coronavirus deaths. That's in Maryland. In Louisiana, they're 33% of the population and 56% of the deaths. This is the same in New York, Chicago, as I said before, Detroit, Washington, D.C. Black people are making up these cases. Now, I did a video where I did talk about, is there an economic incentive for the doctors, the medical establishment to label you COVID if you did not actually die from that, but are you being labeled? Is it economics incentive? Check out my video on that. So, because, you know, that word disproportionately, they're disproportionately saying that black people are the face of coronavirus in America, that we're the ones that are getting it for a variety of different issues. We've got the dummy himself, Jerome Adams, the Surgeon General, saying, do it for your mama and do it for your papa. Really goofy stuff. We've got Mr. Green Machine Man himself, Van Jones, who's supposed to be about green and clean energy. Now he's becoming the Negro whisper, the Negro who speaks negatively about black folks for CNN. See, CNN, MSNBC, and of course the Fox propaganda channel, they hire black people to speak for us. And most of these black folks are not even in touch with us anymore, but they get on news and they talk for us. Now, the reason why I brought up all those numbers is because if the country is trying to get back open, and they're saying that it could possibly be a risk that people will be impacted. You've got the mayor in Nevada or Las Vegas talking about use Las Vegas, Nevada as a petri dish. We're ready. So the dollar is recoverable and people are expendable. And if there's anybody that's going to be impacted by them opening up this country too soon, it will be black people. If we're already supposedly the biggest hit by this virus due to all sort of socio-economic status, then wouldn't we be the most at risk? Because black people out there that are out of work who need their income, they're going to take a chance and go back to work because everybody's bleeding for money, bleeding to pay their rent. Some people can't pay their rent. Some people can't buy food. You got black folks in this country today who literally cannot buy food. Not to mention that most of us have not even received the stimulus check. How many of you have received a stimulus check? Scratching Bo on the go. Thank you. Peace to you for being in the house. Oh, my God, my man, Kujin87. I saw him in the chat room too. Peace to him. We got my man Harris. I see in there in the chat room. Let me see if there's anybody else that I missed. We got Natro in the house. Brittany Dunn is in the house. Let's see. 118 billion. That's Atlanta. So, you know, Natro, you live in the Chicago area. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. I know black folks, like anybody, want to get back to work. We want to get back to our lives as they were before. But are we putting ourselves at risk rushing back in places like Georgia, for example? You see what they're doing in Florida, where black people are the biggest impact of coronavirus. Now, when you look at Philadelphia, where you got a lot of black clergymen opening up their churches, black people are being hit, are dying of coronavirus, are being hit out there around 40%. So the question stands in my thoughts here tonight, everybody, is that if they do open up the country step by step with these policies, and there's another surge or spike, who do you think is going to be most impacted by America opening up the country too soon? See, it's damn if you do and damn if you don't. You got to go to work. See, this is the kind of trick bag they got us in. You've got to go to work because you got to pay your bills. You got to put food in your house. You got to pay gas. You got to put gasoline in the car. You got to do so many things. So if they rush people back to work, then the question is, well, who's going to take care of my children or my child? That's the trick bag now. Now they're talking about reopening up schools, how they're going to have the kids sitting in the classroom with chairs 6 feet apart. So that's the trick bag. Get you back to work, open up the school, so now you can't complain and say that you don't have any daycare for your kids, because now they're going to give you those hours of school. So that's another trick bag. You're damn if you do, you're damn if you don't. But in doing, could it risk you losing your life? Is it really worth it to say, well, I went to the barber shop today and got a haircut, but then you find out tomorrow you've got COVID-19, and then you may struggle to survive from it, especially if you already got pre-existing condition. Now you might die of this. You could possibly die of this. So is it better to get a haircut now and die tomorrow, or live today and get your haircut in the future, because your life is too damn precious? So I'm going to open up the phone lines. If anybody would like to call in, let's have this conversation. So let me switch over and bring open the phone lines. So if anybody would like to call in, that's the number right there. Call in at 605-313-5658. The access code is 571128. Call in at 605-313-5658. I'm sorry, it's on the screen. You can see that. And the access code is 571128. Call in. Let's talk about it. It is a conference call, so I can have multiple people on the line to continue the discussion. I think this is a serious situation, folks, because you got bodies in New York where they got the bodies in U-Haul vans. The morticians, they can't even handle the number of bodies that they've got to treat. You had the sister. I'm going to do a video on that sister who owns the incredible seafood soul food truck out there in Harlem. I'm going to talk a little bit about her at a later date because that sister, I mean, a lot of people, they saw her becoming very emotionally unwind about her loved one being in the house. They got bodies in the house for weeks on end, and she's mad at the mayor of New York, de Blasio. I'm going to talk a little bit about her because she's amazing what she's been able to do with her business, her food truck in the New York area. She's well known out there from what I've gathered. And so the question again is it worth it? So I'm having some wow. I don't know. So I'm having technical problems, folks. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I'm having serious technical problems. Okay. Looks like I'm coming back on. Okay, folks, I was having some technical problems. I apologize. Seems like nowadays when I'm talking about anything significant, that's when weird stuff begins to happen. And I apologize once more for the technical problem. Once again, you can call in the show. My question again to everybody in the chat room, everybody listening, I'm sorry for the technical problems. Once again, my question to everyone is that if we open up the country in the way that they're trying to do, and I know some places are sticking to their guns. I know in California, you had the beaches that were open and people were going to beaches. And the governor of California, Newsom, he shut the beaches down. But I'm saying if black people, as they say, are the hardest hit by this, wouldn't we stand the most to lose if the country is opened up too soon and things spike up? Okay. Another thing, if black people are hit, are the highest in catching this condition, then where's the reparation money? Where's the package? Where's the stimulus money to help those that are the most impacted by this situation? Where's our package? Let me see if I have anybody on the line there.
Enter your conference.
Okay, I'm waiting for my my conference is already set up. If anybody wants to call in and talk about this issue. Is anybody there? Okay.
In order to enter your conference.
Let me stop that and reload that again. I'm setting up the conference call, so if anybody wants to call right on in.
Welcome and thank you. conferencecall.com. You're helping people around the world to
All right.
for free.
Sorry for the delay, folks. A lot of technical issues tonight. All right, so anybody wants to call in? I'm not going to be on here a super long time, but I just want to get people's opinions about why they believe that we should open up the country. Like I said earlier, I understand there's an economic need. You got to feed yourself. You got to pay your rent. You got to take care of yourself. I totally get it. But I believe that if we rush, we could have a big backlash. I did a podcast about what happened in Denver in 1918. Denver, Colorado did the same thing, along with Philadelphia and a few other cities. They came back too fast, and it was disastrous for them. They had a spike where people died. So my question is, if they open things back up, couldn't that create what we call herd immunity, where by default people are going to die, a certain amount of the population? You see what they're doing in Sweden. If you're not familiar with what's happening in Sweden, check it out. What's going on, QT1? Good to see you. The great Black Shark is here. TM is in the house. Brother Harris. If you do your research over in Sweden, they're literally doing herd immunity in Sweden, where most of their elderly population are the main ones dying of the COVID-19. They're still going to work. They're still moving as usual. They got some restrictions on some things, but there are people out there that are losing their family members and are saying that they blame the government for implementing this type of system of herd immunity. It's almost like something out of a psychology, Darwinism, where the fittest, only the fittest will survive. You let a certain amount of the population realizing that a certain amount of the population is going to die off, so you live with that as the risk to keep society going. And I'm saying to you, if they open up this country too fast, who do you think is going to be the first people that are going to get wiped out by this? If they do it too fast, and we run out there thinking that everything is okay. Is there anybody on the line? Okay. So let me read what's in the chat. Let me see. If we open up too soon, it will be disastrous. That's what Sister Back to the Basics just said. We've got Golden Melanin saying that's crazy. We've got the Great Black Shark says they're not going to cut a check, but they're going to keep talking about how black people are most affected by COVID-19 to make us the face of it. Yeah, but Brother Black Shark, they've already made us the face of it. They've already done that. When you look at these statistical numbers. And then on top of that, I've got another article. I got an article that I'm going to do a podcast on where you've got the police in New York that are still harassing black people, black males in particular, the same way they were doing when things was regular. They're doing the same thing. They're still harassing them as if they got stop and frisks legally intact. It's still happening. And like I said on a video before, you got black males that are being targeted because they're wearing a mask. They're wearing a mask to follow the policies of the country to protect themselves. And they are being impacted by wearing the mask. They're being impacted and treated just the same in New York. And this is happening all across this country, no doubt about that. Okay, let me see if I'm let me start this up again. Leave that and start this again. Let me start this up again, and hopefully this will work out. I need to listen to there's something else that's not activating it. All right.
Welcome, and thank you for choosing freeconferencecall.com.
So call on in if you want to at 605-313-5658. Code number 571128.
You are the only participant in the conference.
Okay. I think I got it working right now. A lot of technical problems tonight. Go figure. So let me continue reading in the chat room. Great Black Shark says, we're rocking with you, fam. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate you. I'm just having a lot of, I've been noticing when I've been going live lately, I've been having a lot of weird stuff. Either it's something going on with my internet. Once I get that fixed, then there's something going on with audio. Once I get that fixed, then something. It's always something, and it becomes very frustrating. I almost thought that I had to get another computer, and come to find out it wasn't my computer. There was something going on in the network. It's really weird. It's really weird for good folks out there. So let me see what Brother Greg Harris is saying here. Brother Greg, let me see. What did he say? And then I'm gonna go down. But Harris said something. Let me read. TM said yes. Lightly the opening early, they gave away our reparations, but this should not detour us from moving forward. No, I don't think we should ever detour from getting our reparations. The reparations are due us. They're owed us. But you know what they also did? I got to bring this up. When they cut another stimulus check for the small business, that was about $484 billion. Guess what happened? Black people got left out of that deal. Once again, we got left out. Not to mention that the police in New York are still harassing black males. They're using this as another excuse, as we've said before, to focus on us, to pick with us, to say, hey, they got the COVID-19. Let's make sure. And you notice all of the states that are opening up, they're all red states. They're all the states where you got Trump supporters running around trying to defy things that are put in place. You've got the governor of Georgia, who check out how slick he is. The governor of Georgia says that he's not making anybody go out to these establishments. He's trying to connect. He's trying to separate himself from any blame by just saying, hey, I'm just opening up the state, but it's up to people to make the choices that they want to make, that type of shit. Then you got Donald Trump, who forced the meat packing workers back. Check this deal out, what they got to go through. And a lot of those meat packers in those facilities are black people. A lot of them, as well as other people. You already had a lady, another sister who was working for either Tyson's Foods or JBS. 55 years old, Miss Grant is her name. Working elbow to elbow with people, and she died of COVID-19. And most of the people who are working in these meatpacking facilities are saying it is not safe. We don't like what the president is doing. They're not giving us the proper protective gear. Now, this is what Donald Trump did. He's making them go back to work. And if you decide you don't want to work, guess what? The company, that's JBS, that's Smithfield's Meatpacking Company, that's Tyson's Chicken, all of them, Tyson's Meatpacking, you won't be able to hold the job accountable for not allowing you to be able to take off to protect your family. They're actually penalizing the workers if they say, wait a minute, this is not safe conditions. We don't feel like we should go back into this plant when people have already died in this plant. So that's what Donald Trump has done. And as he touts his relationship with the farmers. Now, guess how many black people you think are working in these plants that are going to be affected by being forced to go into these environments, which most of the meat packing plant employees or personnel have admitted and have said on news and various interviews that they don't agree with what Donald Trump is doing. And the unions, the labor unions, don't agree with it either. Now, he's hiding in the name of he wants to make sure that there's food for Americans to eat. Is there anybody there? Is there anybody on? Hey, what's going on? Back to the basics.
Well, let me. Oh, about to have an echo. Okay.
I'm having all kind of problems tonight. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I'm gonna move forward. Everybody's sticking with me, which I really appreciate that. I appreciate you calling in. Let me know what your thoughts are. I brought up a couple of points if they make any sense. That if the country's opening up, and I know there's those of us who want to get back to what we were doing, our regular routines. If black people are in orange or are being impacted by the coronavirus in the way that they're saying by the numbers, wouldn't we stand the chance of losing the most if everything spikes back up, if we go back into running society too quickly? What are your thoughts?
I would say yes, and also just looking at the states that are opening up. I mean, as soon as I heard Georgia was opening up, I think I about passed out. I was like, no. I was about to be like, is North Dakota about to open up, or is like, right. I don't know, South Dakota or something, Maine? I mean,
right.
It just seems like the states that are opening up just have a large population of black people, so that looked pretty suspicious to me.
Right. And I said this on BMT's channel that you got black folks in Georgia who are there's some black people in Georgia who really are under a belief system that the Governor Kemp of Georgia is trying to take their life. And they said that he has never been favorable towards the black community even before all of this happened. So that's one of the reasons why black folks in Georgia, or some black people in Georgia, not all, are saying that they think that part of them opening up certain facilities like barbershops, hairdressers, certain things that they know that black people support, that they believe that this is sabotage. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say it is. I spoke with someone, I'm not going to say who it is, but I mean, we pretty much came to the same conclusion that, I mean, why does it have to be like barbershops and hair salons? And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, of all the things y'all wanted to open up.
Right. Now, this is the thing that kills me. When Governor Kemp decided to open up Georgia, you know, he never consulted with any of the mayors of the various cities or towns or places in the state of Georgia. And the thing that disturbs me is that 80% of the hospitalizations of people in Georgia were black people, according to CDC studies. That's 80% of black people that have been wiped out in the hospitals. And through further research, I also found out that depending on the state that you live in, depending on how many ICU units, ICU facilities that your state has, there's a correlation between you surviving and you dying. Can you guess where the majority of the ICU units are at in this country?
No, I'm not even going to guess.
Well, it's not that bad of a guess. Most of them are located in the urban environments, the blue states. The red states, and I found an article about this, and it had the breakdown. There's a lot of red states, and they had a graph. I was going to do a video on this. They have a graph where everything in blue represents the number of ICU units.
31.
Oh, okay, welcome. And then the red states had the less amount. So while they're trying to open up the big cities, and they start opening up these rural environments, it's going to backlash on them. It's going to backlash as it at the same time it's going to hurt us too. So this is these are just my thoughts that I'm thinking about tonight, that I don't know if we've given it a lot of thought as black people. What is going to be our strategy going forward if the country indeed does open up? Do you still want to go to movie theaters? Do you still want to go to all these various things? So I lay that right there on the table.
No, I'm good. You know, they can open up, but there's just going to be certain things that I might not be doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Shoot.
We got another guest on. Who else we have on the line?
It's me, Cutie One.
Oh, QB1, what's going on, sister? Glad to hear you. What are your thoughts? What's your thoughts? Go right ahead.
Yeah, likewise. Glad to be here, you all. So I was just saying in the chat, and I'm going to come back to that last part that you made, but just off the top, one, we have to be very careful with the information that we take in when it comes to these numbers, okay?
Right.
We are not, as black people, the higher risk people. That's the first thing. We are not.
Mm-hmm. We
just aren't. And if you listen to every press conference, if you go online and you look at those stats, and when I say that, you know, we have to be wary of the stats as well. The point that I'm making is when you hear somebody say black people are a higher risk for this virus, and you don't do your research, you believe that, okay? My whole point is it's all a mind game. And this
Right.
is what I was saying in the chat. They're going to tell us we are higher at risk. Why? Because they want us to be the experiment for the vaccine. Period.
Right.
Now,
Just in the
when you
same
talked
way that
about
they
the
wanted
brothers in New
to.
York,
Right. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
But yeah,
no,
when you were talking
I
about the
wanna hear
brothers in New York and
Mhm.
other places that are still being harassed and things like that, well, guess what? When you arrest someone, and if you can give them time and they're in the prison, guess what? You are able to have at it when it comes to testing and giving shots. Okay?
Right.
So understand that.
Well, remember,
All right.
wait a minute. Let me just say this to you too. Remember, it was Donald Trump's administration decided to order a whole mess of this experimental what's that stuff, that hydrocore, whatever. And it
Exactly.
it was both the military that took this stuff and the prison system. They brought up a bunch of this stuff to send to the prison system to do exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, because how many years have we all said the prison industrial system is another way of slavery? Well, we all know that when we were slaves, our ancestors, they had no rights, correct?
Correcto. Right. Mm-hmm.
So guess what? You get some brothers in prison. You can have at it. You can do what you will.
Mhm.
Okay? So we have that working. Then we have the other Jedi mind trick, right? Is when you see these protests. When it looks like there's so many people, right? It's really not that many people that are out there protesting. You see them with no mask. You see them close together and things like that. But what I was looking at was like, well, where are my people?
Right.
I don't see anybody out there that was looking like me. Now, you know, I live in Cali like you do. I'm in Southern California. You're in Northern California.
Mhm.
So I was like, wow, okay, we have, Huntington Beach. That's not my people. That's their brown people. And white people. So I'm just going to say white people, okay?
Mhm.
Then we had San Diego, right?
Mhm.
San Diego's close to the border, so what does that tell you? All right? Those are the people out there protesting. Here was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see arrests and none of that funny stuff. And so that's the Jedi mind trick. It's to get us, our people, to sit and say, because, you know, our people like to follow what the other folks do. Well, if they could do it, we could do it. That's been our damn problem.
Right. Right.
Okay? For centuries. That's been our problem. We aren't those people. So right now, when you say what's the solution and what we need to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they opened up the barbershops and all that, because you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and get rid of the weak. Because if you're dumb enough to take your butt out there to do that, then you're a weak link anyway.
Right.
If you can't see what it is, you're a weak link.
Look.
And I'm saying this a vaccine game further, and then they're saying the pharmaceutical part of it, and this is the part that I'm going to follow personally myself. I'm going to stay up on this. I had seen they made it a point to say that when the vaccines come out, that Big Pharma has already said there will be no charge because they've decided this is not worth making a profit for. Okay? So I'm going to stay on that. I heard this with my own ears.
I don't
but, you know,
that.
So we get,
I don't.
and that's the point that I'm making. Right. It's like, so I heard it. Oh, all right, I'm going to pay attention to that. You know, again, see, that's another Jedi mind trick.
Right.
And who is it geared for? If you really think about it, if we just take out the COVID-19 as a whole, right? And when I say that, meaning, this the cover story, because they've been trying and going at us for years. Okay? So we all know where it came from. Right. We all know that it could have been put under better control for this not to happen. But as you stated and many others stated, at the end of the day, it comes down and back to us. No matter what, we are always going to be the face. And since we're the face, guess what? We're the experiment. Okay? Right. We're going to make, you know, no matter what. And this is what I was saying with the vaccines. with this thing that's going on now, guess what? They're talking about, oh, well, you know what? You can come down. Vaccines are important. See, they put an S on that. So we're not even talking about COVID. We're talking about, come on down, black people, get all in vaccines. And they're specifically stated measles, the smallpox, what's the HPV? Come down because I foresee that if with this virus, you know, you may be at greater risk down the line. This is all a mind game. And so our people need to stay the hell back. Because you know that when they were talking about the smoking and drinking and this and that, there was some research. I just happened to thumb through some stuff like, oh, hold on. Oh, they're talking about the people who smoke cigarettes.
Right.
You know what? That nicotine is putting off some stuff. Okay? Because you know, I don't know if you realize, your whole immune system, it overactivates. Like it goes into overload when you get this virus. That's what's killing people.
Right, okay? because your body is trying to attack something that's foreign to it, and it's doing everything it can. But then, and in doing so, it actually your immune system, actually attacks you in trying to attack the virus, which is ultimately killing people. Let me just say this. I'm of a thought, because I did a video some weeks ago talking about there's economic incentive involved in this stuff, labeling people under the COVID-19 when they may not even actually die from COVID-19. They're not going to tell us the whole complete truth. But I did a video on that because they were talking about doctors. In some way, there's an incentive economically to label people that and put pressure on the funeral homes to put that on the, on the forms and everything like that. Let's just say this. Let's say statistically, if we were to get the real statistics, let's say that maybe black people are not necessarily dying of this like we think. Maybe they could be dying of other things, and this could be just something that's being labeled on them. At the same time, black people can still be dying from this. But by creating, let's say black people are dying from this, but by the media and the government creating the campaign through using the media to push out the numbers that we're dying in high numbers here and there, then you're absolutely right. This opens up the door for them to later on say down the line, well, because black people are dying in high numbers of the COVID-19, they're the first ones that we got to bring, like you said, the vaccines to their community. We're the ones we're going to experiment on. Hell, you had the French doctors who got their little butts handled because they were talking about let's experiment in Africa, and the Africans are saying we ain't not no petri dish for you. So this opens up the door for them to say, because we have this, we can harass them. We can ask them for their immunity card, which Dr. Fauci, I played an audio of him talking about that they've had discussions about immunity cards where you got to prove that you are immune. Even the
like in China, they have that in China,
Even the airports right now, the airlines are talking about some type of form or ID to prove that you are immune or whatever, or don't have it before you can even get into an airplane. So this will change us. Let's say, for example, they're talking about kids going back to school because they want to put Americans back to work. Well, what if they flip it around and say, well, if you want your kids to go back to school and they'll focus on black communities, you're going to have to do A, B, and C, black people in your communities. I ain't talking about everybody else. So your kids can go back to school. They can put us under certain conditions and policies. Now, this is why, and I'm going to end here. This is the reason why I'm getting tired of hearing this statement that people are making. We're all in this together. That's bullshit. Because if we were all in this together, everybody would be getting treated the same way. You got black communities where they're not even giving them the testing. And if they do have testing, it's way out of their community, which is what they tried to do in Los Angeles, where you live at. Put everything out there in Lancaster. Everything out there way out away from the southern part where black people live at down there, right? Then they're making it difficult. I mean, They're putting obstacles in our way. Now you got black men running with masks that are being told you can't wear a mask if you go into a Walmart. We're going to harass you. You had the doctor in Miami who's a doctor working in a community with homeless.
Oh, yeah.
He gets harassed by a cop because he's minding his own business. So, and then another thing too, when the Chinese were getting hit down with the racism, they were talking about maybe we need to give them an economic package. If black people are at a high number, where is our economic package? Because we're the most hit by COVID-19, so they say in the media and the numbers. And where is our reparations check? Where's our money? Because they just gave our money to all these goddamn corporations who are getting money hand over foot. They gave our money. That was our money that they just gave away. And back to the basics. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. And you know what? And I'm going to piggyback off of what you said.
Okay.
This is, again, when you talked about those numbers and we're higher at risk, but there's no money for us. I mean, you know, out here where I am, LA style, you know, not only did people get the stimulus check, but then there was a separate part that the governor did for the immigrants. Okay. So there's money for them. Okay. With these tests, I want to say, maybe 2 weeks ago or so, they had the mall set up for tests. Okay. Now, I'm gonna say this. This may be a little unorthodox, you know, maybe unpopular, and it's been a long time since we talked. But you know, I think outside the box. So I'm just gonna throw this on out here. With these tests, it goes hand in hand with this vaccine. Okay, because look, they are making it such an issue that we can probably. I think it was 18,000 a day. LA that they can do a day, right? No cost, set up an appointment. Okay, now when you set up an appointment, you got to put your name down. And you know they're going to put your ethnicity down, right?
Right.
So when you look at that, why should we as black people, see, that's what I'm saying, we can be smarter. We don't even need to go take the test. Because what the things that you said, that always stood out to me, because I've heard this over and over. Guess what? This card, okay, you're immune. There's no such thing as immune because they can't even test the antibodies. Right. You can't test them, okay? So that means you can't say who's immune or not. I could test negative today but have it tomorrow because I may be asymptomatic, correct?
Right.
So that's right. At the end of the day, all this airplane stuff, barbershop and all that, we as people, we need to stand down. We need to go and let them kill each other. So this is an opportunity for us because we don't even need to take them freaking tests because too many people are going to the hospital that aren't even being tested and said I have a fever or whatever, and they're put down as COVID-19. So the hospitals get the kickback. They're getting like what? 70,000 and then 30,000 for a bonus. They're getting paid for every person that they diagnosed with this disease. There are coroners now who are going to re-examine bodies to your point, to see if that's actually what people died from.
Right. Let me say this. If they're opening up certain places in the country where you have a black population, then if you believe this, one can make an inference that they actually would like us to go to the barbershops, to the beauty shops, to all the stuff that they're opening up, so that I said this earlier in the program before I started having all kind of technical problems, which really pissed me off tonight, but I'm okay. Thank you all for still hanging in there with me. To me, it's a form of herd. If you're familiar with the term, it's a form of herd immunity without them actually saying it. By just saying, okay, let's open up the country. And, you know, obviously some people are going to get this and then you got Donald Trump, who every day is lying to the American people saying that we've done more testing than anyone else. That's not true. And then most
exactly, not true at all.
Right. And most of the white people or most of the people that you see protesting, folks, look at it double time. Most of them are Trump supporters. They're people that are wearing the mega hats. That's who you got doing this. And then you got Trump today who just said he's thinking about going on a tour. He's using this incident, this pandemic. He's using it as a way to campaign and promote his propaganda.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And in doing so, in my opinion, since they say that black people are the biggest, in my opinion, they're doing it off of our backs. And yet, a lot of us haven't even gotten the basic stimulus check. And this is another thing that bothers me. We haven't heard anything from the Black Congressional Caucus in terms of we haven't heard anything from them as it relates to what's happening to black people, since they keep putting us as the face of this. All I'm hearing is celebrities coming out and talking, and we don't need to hear from them right now.
Oh, that's the other Jedi mind trick too. The celebrities. Okay, so it goes right back to what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Hospitals get a kickback for diagnosing people with COVID. Now, let me ask you this: when you started seeing the celebrities claim they have COVID, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just asking because I don't follow celebrities like that. I'm just not a follower. So this is a real question. I'm not being funny. Have you personally, and what's the young lady on the line? What's your name?
Oh, Back to the Basics. She's on the line.
Back to the Basics.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
I'm good.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Basic.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew she was there. Okay, so I'm going to ask both of you guys. Because I knew she was still there. I just couldn't remember her name. Sorry about that. So I'm going to ask both of you guys. With the celebrities that claim they had this, did we see anybody in the hospital bed like we've seen other regular citizens? Did we see them on ventilators? Did we see Twitter feed with, any kind of something where they looked like the average people that were seeing that supposedly were ill and passed away?
No, sister, they don't. But we have to be honest and realize that, and you know this, that based on the money and your wealth and your celebrity, you're going to get the best medical care that money can buy. Now that's just me saying on that front. Okay, we can look at it many ways. You got the Prime Minister of Great Britain who came out today looking like he never even had coronavirus. Right? When me and you get it, we're in the hospital on the ventilator talking about, oh God, please let me live. Right? But if they get it, they're getting now, look, another thing that I noticed, Colbert, the basketball player from Utah Jazz, that big dummy, you haven't heard anything about him. You haven't heard nothing about him. And let me say what's this before we go on.
Wait, was that that's not the first one? Was that the first one that touched all the microphones and stuff came out? Is that who we're talking?
Yeah,
oh
Colbert.
My God.
But we haven't even heard anything from him. But before we go on, let me say what's up to Natro again. No Nonsense is in the house. Thank you for I think No Nonsense gave me a Cash App. Thank you, sister, for that. And then we got NQ's World in the house. We got, who else came in the house? The great Black Sharks in the house. Golden Melanins in the house. We got Chai 5 in the house. We got Vic in the house. Oh, we got the Spiritual Creed in the house. Peace to you. Thank you for being here. We got Gav, Real Conversation. That's my brother out there. Thank you for being here. If you're still in the chat room, we got Doc Drop Actions in the house. And just really good people in the chat room right now. And let me see. Shy says gaming and vlog. Yeah, this brother's a gamer. And then let me see what Golden Melon says. Yeah, the other distractions. Yeah, this is nothing but distractions. You're absolutely right. TM is in the house. He says, yes, they have been throwing numbers before they had the data. Yes, we are affected because of the pre-existing conditions, but not to the extreme they report. Now, No Nonsense said this. She said Scarface is battling kidney disease now too because of COVID, and he said he never had any kidney problems. Now, wait a minute. Let's unpack that.
No, wait, and you know, that's one person. That's the only person, because I saw Great Black Shark set it up here. Scarface was sick with it for real. Willie D talked to Brad, and I saw that. I was like, oh, that's the only person. The only person that I was like, whoa. But you know what's crazy?
What's crazy?
Did we see any our people who are affected the most, right? Our people who have the highest numbers, our people who are the highest at risk. Did that go all around where our people really, really knew about that story the way we saw Isra and Pink and Tom Hanks and you understand all them? That story didn't travel like that.
Well, what about the one that y'all like? What's that brother? The brother from Great Britain, Eba. What's that brother? Y'all know y'all like him.
That's why I said Isra. That's why I said Isra.
Yeah.
That's why I said.
What happened to him?
He looked just as normal. Remember, his girl was right there with him.
Right.
You know, and that's my point. It's like, hold on, where's the coffin? Because see, this is what got me. I never saw any of them coffins. It's like. And that's when I got in my brain, like, you know what? Let's just, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say they have it, right? Mm-hmm. First thing I thought, if they got this crap, they look all right to me, which means, guess what? Two things. That shit's airborne, and I'm not about to be trusted nobody that I don't know. Because if you look normal, like they look normal, that means you won't have symptoms. And so we got, a month later, within the month,
right.
You may be asymptomatic. People aren't showing symptoms. Really? See, I'll be up on it.
Right.
Hold on.
Let me tell y'all something that's
talking about this stuff. Yeah.
Let me tell you something that's real, both of you and everyone listening. I'm not going to go into details, but at my place of employment, there have been folks that have gotten it. And they were asymptomatic. They didn't show. And I know, and then I also know this, that people weren't wearing the mask like they should have. I was rocking my stuff from the very get-go. No, I'm serious. See, let me tell you what happened to me.
Me too.
I'm going to tell you what happened to me. Both
remember, Trump said we don't need the mask. Trump said don't wear them. I was like, this fool, he don't know what he's talking about. I'm with you, information man. I had mine from day one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I want to hear from y'all. This is the hypocrisy of it all. Remember, Trump back in February was laughing and giggling and saying that COVID-19 was a conspiracy of the Democratic Party. And then he turns around today saying, oh, we knew how bad it was. But then we find out that Susan Rice, who worked for Obama, gave that man a big fat document on his desk saying, y'all got a serious situation you better prepare for. Right? Then, check this out. Then you got Pence, who goes to the Mayo Clinic, disrespecting everybody, didn't even follow the rules. And then I heard somebody on a radio show say today, and it didn't make sense to me, that maybe one of the reasons why you don't see Trump and Pence wearing masks, because they're in a controlled environment. What does that mean? They're probably testing everybody in that White House.
They're the test dummies. Yep,
right, they're the test dummies. Yep. Now, check this out. And they're going to change this, everybody. This was on Twitter. Do you know that the senators are talking about they don't have enough tests to test the so-called senators, your Senate, your United States Congress. They don't have enough tests for them. There's an article that came out in Politico about this. Check that out, folks. They're going to probably change the narrative by tomorrow and say, okay, we got the test for them. Because they're talking about they're going to probably have to test these people every day when they go up into them raggedy-ass chambers. And yes, they raggedy to me. And then you got Trump ordering. Now, look, back to the basics. You can speak to this because you're military. Is it necessary for Trump to make all those military personnel fly and take buses and risk their life getting back to New York just so Trump can take his raggedy ass on some stage? See, this is campaign for him. I mean, what do you think about that?
Definitely is. Yeah, when he came to Fort Drum back in let me think what it was. It was August of 2018, and he made his lovely appearance. And yeah, it was something else. It was, I ain't never seen. I was like, wow. And yes, him and the vice president and General Mark Milley was there. And just because I know they'd be listening to me, none of my statements are endorsed by the U.S. Army. Just saying.
No, I understand. I understand that, but
it's definitely.
I just brought that up because
there was a statement he made. What was it, like late March? He said, because a reporter asked him, "Are the elections going to be postponed?" He said no. And I bet you that may change in the future. And he also said, because somebody asked about like mail-in voting, he's like, well, I don't trust mail-in voting because that can be manipulated. And I about just.
Okay, I think they got cut off the line, but the lines are going to come back on. Let me set this back up again. I'm going to set it up again. All kind of weird stuff tonight. All kind of weird stuff. Now the line's crazy. All right, let me get that going again. Call back on in.
Welcome.
I've got the conference call running back up. So call back on in. Let me see here. Call back in at 605-313-5658. The code is 571128. Call back in, QB1. Q1T, I'm sorry, Q1T, call back in, sister, and back to the basics. Back to the basics, call back in. QT1, call back in. And anybody, matter of fact, anybody who wants to is more than welcome because I'm using a conference call, which means more than one person. I can have many, many people on the line. Is anybody there now? Are you back?
Yeah, we here.
I don't know what.
Yeah, we're back.
I don't know.
I don't know what happened.
Well, I think no. We know what's happened. You're talking too much damn truth.
Tell the truth.
And and because you're telling the truth, ladies, tonight, and everybody in the chat room's telling the truth, they're saying we gotta mess with this guy's channel. We already been deleting his videos. We already been taking his videos down. You know. Let me tell you what happened to me. Let me tell you guys what happened to me. Remember the video that I did with the young men who got mistreated in the Walmart? And then I subsequently had a chance to interview them. I made contact with them. Well, the video that I actually used on my channel, of all the time I've been on YouTube, sometimes YouTube will send you copyrights and say, oh, you don't have to worry this time. Well, guess what? They gave me a copyright strike on that video. And I had to go through. I believe in being transparent with y'all. So I had to go online and go through what they call. This is what happens. This is a learning teaching. This is a teachable moment. So I had to go through what they call a copyright school. So you had to look at some videos, take an exam. Yeah, I had to take a little YouTube exam like I was a little kid. They had me, check this out. I had to watch this goofy cartoon about copyright. It was crazy. Take the little test. And then they said by July, they will officially take the strike off the channel. If you don't go through that process, they'll keep it on there and they'll penalize you. So that's what happened to me over a video that was very important. They have also took down. I mean, they're messing. Their policies are tightening up, and it's making it. I'm telling you, it's making it very hard for you to really give this content in a raw manner. You got to water your content down to a certain degree. That's why when I go on my podcasting platforms, I'm going to be a little bit more raw on those platforms because of the fact that it's not as they don't have these petty things on these podcasting platforms, but they're going to get to those too sooner or later. So I'm glad to have you guys. I'm glad to have you ladies back on. So, God, what were we saying? So yeah, Trump is using this as campaign. He's playing these manipulative games. We're seeing celebrities who supposedly have the condition, but then we don't hear anything from them anymore. All of a sudden, zap, bam, boo, they're well. While the rest of people are dying in the hospitals, And so something is definitely going on. So my
alone at that.
alone.
That's what gets me alone.
Now, check this out. I brought this up earlier in the program because I'm going to do a little editorial on this sister in Harlem who has the seafood Harlem food truck, and she went off on Mayor de Blasio. She went buck wild on him. She said, this was like, she said, I know you. And I know your wife. And this, she was getting in his ass, and we got bodies that are left here in the homes. And this is our city. She's telling the truth. And we're being treated like shit. And guess what color is she, everybody? What is she? She's black folk. She's black, right? And she lives in Harlem, even though they're trying to gentrify Harlem, where a lot of black people live. So when she's saying that we're being treated like shit and they're leaving these bodies in our home and our loved ones are being mistreated, 9 out of 10 times it's in Harlem, it's black folks. You got the reports about them having bodies in those U-Haul trucks because the beauticians are overwhelmed. And I'm thinking to myself today, I wonder how many of those bodies that they're leaving, how many of them are the black people? Because they keep saying that we're the biggest. They keep saying that we're the face of coronavirus. So how many of them are black people? And you notice they don't let you see that. They don't want you to see bodies. They don't want you to see it.
It's just another form of like psychological warfare. It's either, we want everybody to be afraid or anxious, and then it's just a lot of smoke and mirrors. Like I said, I've never seen psychological warfare like that, like this before in my life. I'm like, wow, they are really pouring it on. I was like, man.
They are. And then you have to think too, sister, it's like when people are just sick in general, right? You can't even go in the hospital with your loved one. This goes right back to my initial point, which is that you may be going in for one thing, but you're going to come out with COVID. And the fact that you're even coming out, that you're walking out of the door, it says something. And just like Information Man said, we don't know the bodies that are in those U-Hauls. See, they have to keep everything shrouded in mysteries, right? Because when we come with the numbers, and they said Latinos were one, and this was either white or Asian, second or third.
Right.
And I think we were at 13%. With that being said, it's like if we're at 13%, but the top, which is Latinos, at 28%, how are we the most susceptible to this? Okay, so then we go back to what you guys brought up about the voting, right? And Trump doesn't trust the mail. Okay, you don't trust the mail for the ballots, but you trust the mail for them checks. Make it make sense, people.
Well, see, this is the hypocrisy of Donald Trump. While he's now trying to come down on the post office, and let's not get this twisted. The post office employs the majority of black people. The majority of black people in this country who have made it into quote unquote middle class or somewhere in there, because it's basically not in existence now. The majority of them have job employment with the state, the federal, the government, right? County type jobs. And we're in the post office, which is federal. So when he's talking about destroying the post office, that the post office is a joke. Well, wait a minute. Who is the biggest employer of black people in this country but the goddamn post office for years now? So what is he really trying to say? And then check this out. For those of you who did get a stimulus check in the mail, do you know that Donald Trump had the nerve to put a letter,
his signature,
and his signature? And the IRS is very upset about this because that's campaigning. He made it look like the IRS is endorsing his ass. Now, I don't know what.
Yes.
Tell the truth.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah.
Donald Trump. I'm gonna give him this one credit. We're probably witnessing in our lifetime maybe the greatest. I'm talking about the greatest con man that ever lived on this planet, and I'm talking about the greatest con man. I mean, we're talking about heavyweight champion. He need to have a damn belt around him. He has been such a con artist. I mean, he need to have a champion belt. Come get this belt from who's better than Donald Trump when it comes to conning and hustling. Who's better? He's the heavyweight pound for pound hustle champion.
Oh yeah, that lip game right there. That's you know what I'm saying. He all talk.
I mean,
and you know I'm gonna tell you about the Postal Service.
Right.
There's just a little collection. The Postal
okay. Correct me. Yeah, correct.
Service it's not strictly federal.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's like that. They're their own entity.
Okay,
that's why in the beginning he didn't want to help bail them out. It's like a I want to say maybe a 60-40 type of situation. So see, the Postal Service hadn't been dependent on federal monies and bailouts and things like that prior.
But let me ask you this question.
And
was there let me ask you this question before you not to cut you off. Was there a point where the post office was a part of the federal government and maybe there was a change down the line? Or am I wrong about that historically?
I believe that's true historically. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And so with that being said, here's another something on that. I actually I'm tight with somebody I know some people in there, right? I'm just gonna put it like that. Now, people
fire
again, right?
Tonight.
And you know it's messed up. That now I'm kind of mad. Like I announced my name, we gonna act like don't nobody know who it is. Okay, so we're in April, so early last month, which will put us around. I would say the second week around March, right? I was talking to one of these individuals, and one, I was told, if they don't get help from federal, they won't have any more money by June. Right? Right, now listen to this. And so even though I know this person and I mean for many years, my whole thing is I'm one of those people, I just don't roll with what comes out of your mouth, right? So I was like, let me look up some stuff. And I swear, 2 days later, it was right there in a headline about the post office. One, Donald Trump, because what it was is it had come out that he doesn't want to bail them out, right? And that by June, they would run out of money. I was like, oh my God. But here's the other part. The second thing he told me, which is way more scary. Okay, this is the part where I hope nobody knows. This is real messed up. And I checked this out myself too. Overall, when we look at the global impact of this virus, he told me that it was already 100,000 employees in his business that had that thing, and they were trying to keep it undercover. So what do? Let me pull up some stuff. Let me see what I can find. Now, when I looked, it said 50. Okay?
Okay.
But are we hearing about that? You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, well, I do believe the numbers, you know what I'm saying? It was like, no, they don't even want that to get out because that's another part of what could possibly shut them down. And it is a whole big old conspiracy when it comes right back to this campaign and how he doesn't trust the mail. It's like, wow, so now the mail are the new Russian bots for this election. But again, I go back to you don't trust the mail for absentee voters or just voters in general. However, you want to send checks through the mail.
Well, because
with your signature.
Because he wants to use he's down on the post office, but he wants to use it as his own personal propaganda operation to push his letters. Another thing that we got to watch out with this individual is the fact that he's using a lot of coded language. And another thing too, let's not forget the fact that there's a lot of black people, a lot of people of different backgrounds who work in these meat packing facilities, JBS, Tyson, and then you've got Smithfields out there in South Dakota Falls, which was like the fourth place in the country that had the biggest COVID-19 cases. You got a lot of black folks working in these factories, and then you've got Donald Trump, who enacted a military executive order to make these people go back to work. And do you know, when I said this earlier in the show, that if any of them decide that they don't want to do that, they cannot hold any of these companies accountable for anything. So they're saying that you're going to work, but if you got any pushback that you want to push back on the company, under his order, the people who work in the factory who are the most at risk don't have any rights to fight against anything. And the unions are saying this is wrong. They've interviewed people who work in there and say, look, we want work, but he's sending us back into a situation that's very difficult for us. And so I don't know how many Americans or our people understand what's going on in the time that we're living in. I think we cannot afford to sleepwalk through this thing. All right. Do we? I mean, how many of us in the chat, those listening out there, how many of you really realize what is taking place? We're living through historical times right now, because whatever's happening is going to change the paradigm of how we live in this world, in this country, because could this be the opening door for them to further destroy our civil liberties, to continue further control? Now, I personally believe that by making us go back into these environments, and I see what they're doing in Switzerland, where they're doing herd immunity on their own people. It's a form, and people don't want to hear this. It's a form of depopulation. Depopulation. Here
comes Alex Jones.
Well, I don't want to be Alex Jones, but I got to be honest about this. Think about it. Do they really want a lot of people living on this planet when you got food sources, resources that everybody's fighting over? Is it in their best interest to shave off some of the population? I mean, they talk about that in the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah, they do.
So, and check this out. If it's affecting black people, so they say in this manner that we're the ones dying, then is anybody going to really shed a tear or really be that sad to see a lot of us dying from this? Is this country really, let's ask the question. Is this country really concerned about the numbers of us that are dying? Not only just black folks, but just people in general. Is it time to do the editing of the country? Let's edit, okay?
If I can answer that.
Go ahead. When you finish, I got something to say to that too. Go ahead.
Okay. No, they don't care, because I didn't major in psychology. I almost minored in psychology, but after a while, if a person sees death so much, then they just get there's that process of flooding. It loses its effect, and then people don't care. So to me, it's just another element of psychological, just a mind game. Because for people who watch the news like that, then they're just gonna be like, oh well, it's just the same old stuff. People are dying, and they're not getting buried. They're just gonna. What is it? They're burying them off on an island somewhere or something. I'm like, wow,
Well, according to
they don't care.
If you do your research, and I heard Tariq talking about this on his program, that island where they're burying bodies has been known as a place that black folks disappear in New York. Let me just say that.
Oh heck, no. Mm-mm.
Well, check this out. I wish I had the article right here. They're already saying that the police in New York are at their same tactics as they were before, and they're using the COVID situation as more excuse to mistreat us. Now, check this out again. You had the Jewish rabbi who passed away in New York, and the Jewish community, the Hasidic Jews, they technically violated the rules of the mayor and the governor. They went out there in the streets and said, we own this goddamn town. We're going to do what we want to do. We're going to bury our rabbi the way we want. Now, that was them. They did it. The police went out there and kind of forced them out of the area, but you didn't see them getting beat down and thrown in the paddy wagons and all that kind of stuff. Now, this is the question. Imagine this. What if black people had have gone to the state capital like they did in Michigan with their guns and said, we want back to work. We want to be back to work, goddammit. What if black people what if black folks had a funeral for someone they loved in New York, okay? And they decided, we're going to take over the streets and we're going to do this. How much you want to bet that there would be billy clubs involved, heads being busted in, black folks being arrested,
Lord have mercy,
black folks being called extreme identity extremists, especially if they would have went to a state capitol doing the same thing that white folks do. And this is the thing. I heard somebody say this either on YouTube or some program I was listening to. If black people would act more, I think Jason Black was talking about this, black people acting more like white people in terms of standing up for what we believe is right for us in this country. But this is where I differ with that. Anytime black people exercise the same rights that white people have exercised for decades and years, what usually happens to us?
We get labeled, we get killed, we get put in jail.
Right. I'm not saying that we should not stand up, even though there's a price to pay for it in this country. I'm not saying that. But I got where he was coming from, but in the back of my mind, I was saying, but usually when we exercise something, we get mistreated. I'll give you a case in point, and this will be real quick. The Black Panther Party, which was founded in Oakland, right? Remember when Reagan was governor of California? I don't know if the millennials out here know this. Reagan was governor of California. It was the Black Panther Party who came down to the state building, the assembly. They had their rifles, just like you see white folks in Michigan and white folks out there in all these Virginia and all these southern states exercising their rights. And they in California at that time, if I'm not mistaken, tell me if I'm wrong, QT1, you could carry your gun open long as you didn't have a bullet in the chamber. The Black Panther Party simply showed their guns to give us symbolic symbolism. Reagan went buck wild and said, oh my God, black men and black militants with guns on the state capitol. My God, no. And guess what? That's why we don't have open carry in California. They changed the laws.
That's right.
Just like that. Now, if you want gun control in this country, everybody's talking about why we don't have gun control. Kids are being shot in school. All you gotta do is if black folks went out tomorrow and brought up all the guns, if black people went out and brought all the guns legally now, I guarantee you get new laws about guns just like that. Because you know why? Yep. That's what they did in California because of the Black Panther Party. And the Black Panther Party was operating under the law of California, and they changed it because of black people organizing. Now take that, smoke that in your pipe, folks.
And they didn't even have them out in their hands all like that. They just had them strapped. You know what I mean? So
right.
And that's absolute fact that up until that point, Cali definitely was an open carry state. You know, you are 100% correct with that. And yeah, I was going to say your earlier point. I'm trying to remember because you just put me back in that mindset. It's fine. But back to like how we're talking about. I said this earlier.
Mm-hmm.
To me, these people out protesting and doing things like that, they are not our shade. They're not our people. They're doing it as bait because we are historically known for following behind the white man. We're going to do as he does. Just like how you just made that point about what Jason Black said. We have the right to be. No, but guess what? We do, but there comes a time where we have to think and be wiser.
Right.
There's no reason for us to be out there. Okay? When it comes to these schools, guess what? If you've been maintaining, we just got to get a system where we don't have to depend on the traditional daycare, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to depend on the traditional school. We can see, we have to use this shit against them. So, we know they're lying. We are not the most at risk. But guess what? We need to use that to our advantage. So when they say, hey, we're opening everything up, time for kids, no. My black baby ain't going to school because y'all didn't already say it.
Right.
We're at higher risk.
But
you understand what I'm trying to say?
Right. And if we're at high risk, where is the Clyburns? Where is the Black Caucus to go up there and say, you know what, black people we need a how does he talk? Let me act like I'm one of these old senators. We need a package. We need black people are disproportionate. They go that word, disproportionately hit hard by COVID-19, 80%, 70%. So therefore, we need a special package, stimulus package for black people in America. Because we are the most harshly harmed by COVID-19. Now, where is our Black Caucus to give that presentation?
Yes, we need special incentives. We need things that are conducive to our plight. Okay,
right.
Because it's just us. You understand? And that's what I'm saying, like how our LA folk out here decided, the immigrants, just like how they put them on benefits before with
right.
food stamps and all kind of other mess, right? I mean, and here's the thing, and I can say this knowing my history of LA, there's a catch-22 with that, okay? Because, LA was Mexico for so long.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Okay, and so you know how they redline and they divide. It's all that kind of mess. And then we got to look at L.A. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of Hispanic, and then we got to go. Okay, well now we got all these Hollywoods want to be moving out here into these homes and this and that. Right? They're trying to segregate again and redline again. Because I don't know if you're aware, like over the 20-something years, okay? Mm-hmm. They've been trying to redline South Central again because, they had divided that up long time ago to make room for the white folk. Well, see, now the white folk ain't trying to drive and be in all that traffic, so now they want to scooch them on, some more to make room for them. This
is how it works, though.
I believe in the depopulation part. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I believe in the depopulation part. But guess what? Mm-hmm. I don't think like you do in terms of that's how it started. I don't believe that. This started off as chemical warfare from Trump and them damn tariffs and shit against China, right? So what happened, that stuff leaked out and did some other things. So with that being said, now we're going to come full circle back to my initial point. It's going to stay my point. Mm-hmm. The population control and genocide and all that, it's coming down to us now, which is, you made a point, Congress doesn't have enough tests to test Congress every day, right? So if they don't have enough tests to test every day, and they're in Washington, and they're supposed to have the best of, explain to me how LA is going to test 18,000 a day. It's a reason. Don't trust them damn tests. The tests, they're getting your name, they're getting your information, okay, for them to sit in. Now we get to the population control and we're going to kill off people. See, once you sign your name on that thing and you go down there and get tested, now I know who you are. All right? Now I know where to look. Now I know where to hunt. That's what it is. And that's what I said, we just have to be smarter and understand what is at work here. Nothing is for the benefit of us. Nothing has ever been for the benefit of us, and this is not going to be anything different. I'm not going to wait for the Black Caucus or anybody to speak up. You know why they're not? Because they know that they can't speak up and tell the truth. which is what I'm telling you, we're not the number one people that are dying. We just aren't. They can't go up. They can't talk about that because that's what they're going to be losing their jobs. And unfortunately, that's what's sad. It takes people like you and others who want to get the truth out there and give us our information. Because we can't depend on them folks that look like us up at that White House, okay? We just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me say this. You hear people talking about this. Black people have taken an economic hit and being gentrified in some of these communities in California and throughout the whole country. And the quest of that is to replace us. Now, give me a little bit of history, and you probably know this already. What I've always learned about white people in general, they leave, there's what you call white flight. Before as black people were leaving the South and migrating into what we call Los Angeles today, South Central LA was made up of immigrants. Mostly of them were German, Croatians. They came from Europe. Then as black people moved into the community, these Europeans had gangs. The gangs or the white folks that lived in the community started to harass and pick with black young men. And from there, they created their own group, which was called the Celestines. This is before Bloods, Crips, and all of that. That's the origins of it. So when they talk about gangs, see, this is how they paint the picture. When they describe the gang structure of Los Angeles, they always put a black face or Latino face on it. But the first gang members that was in the damn community was the damn Europeans that came over there and immigrated into the country and then started messing with black folks.
That's right.
Which is why you have the gang, which is how you got the gang structure in LA. Okay, then check this out. When you look at the history of how the police have treated black people poorly in LA, well, how did that happen? The Los Angeles Police Department started recruiting those same racist cops in the South that was putting dogs and hitting and attacking black folks that were involved in civil rights. They recruited them to come on up to the West Coast and be a part of the police department. That's one of the reasons why the LAPD has always had a history of brutality, because they recruited these type of individuals into their police department. So I personally believe that everything that we see that's happening is because they want to eliminate black folks. When the mayor and the government out there in LA decided to put all those testing centers away from the southern part of LA where black people live, what does that tell you, sister? They want us to do what? Perish. Whether we got it or not, just perish.
That's right. I got some history for you, too. Now, when you get a chance, pull up Pacoima, California. Now, I'm saying that because,
write that in the chat room real quick for everybody.
Okay,
I'm going to cut and paste that over.
Right fast.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Pacoima, California.
Yeah, I got to look into that.
Go ahead. I had, now.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
My people migrated from Shreveport, Louisiana to Los Angeles. Okay. So, up until I was 5 years old, I lived in South Central Los Angeles. Now, all growing up and whatnot, I've always gone back to LA because we were the only ones out of the family who left LA. So all my relatives were in South Central. With that being said, we moved to Pacoima, California. Okay? Now, Pacoima at the time that we moved there, that was considered, well, I'm not going to say considered, a lot of white people lived there. That was the white land back then. So that would put us in what we call the Valley. So we got LA, the Valley. I'm like a Valley girl in real life. Okay, right? So got Pacoima, California. So all my schooling and everything was in the Valley. So I was in Pacoima from elementary, I want to say, so kindergarten up until, I want to say, 4th, 5th grade. With that being said, there's a documentary that one of my friends' cousins had did. Some stuff I never knew. There was a point in time where, like I said, all the white people were there. A lot of Chinese migrated to Pacoima. I can't remember what happened right now, but I'm sure you can find it. All I know is this. There was a point in history where they gathered up, I'm just going to say Asians, okay? Gathered them all up and put them in a freaking camp in Pacoima, California.
Now,
I see somebody for 818. Yeah, Black Magic, all about the 818. Yes, and before that, what was it? 213. Yes.
Okay. Well, wait.
Yeah, but they interned them into camp.
Was that the Japanese? Because we know that America has a history during World War II, especially in California, putting the Japanese into camps. Because in San Francisco, there's a community that I spent spent some time in growing up in the Fillmore area. We used to call it the Mo. Originally, there's a place called the Japanese Center that's there. Originally, it was Japanese that lived there, and they took their property, their homes, everything, and then they put them in camps. And then as black men were coming out of the military in World War II, they put black people in this housing, and this housing project started to be popping up. You notice they created these housing projects, which when you do studies with rodents, they show that it's not natural to have people living in close quarters like that, boxed in like that. They've done studies with rodents, and they say that that's somehow the way it was built. It contributes to manifesting violence on a side. And so that's why, sister, nothing that happens in this country and in this world is by accident. I believe that everything has some sort of program to it. Some kind of experiment and what have you. So it's really crazy. You know, another thing too I want to bring up, even as nutty as he is, even Trump in the intelligent community is saying that this is not true. But Trump has been whispering about he believes that this COVID-19 came from a laboratory, and he was bringing that up.
I believe it.
And then the intelligence community was saying, this is not true. This is not true. No, that's not true. We know that Trump lies. He makes up stuff. But I did find it interesting that he kept sort of touching on that. It makes me, and you know, as when you're the president, you're privy to all type of information that we're not privy to. So it just makes me wonder if he did that as a dog whistle to his supporters. Is he doing that to send another underlying message? Because we know that America is in debt to China, and they would love nothing than to have China wipe that debt clean based on the Corona-19 virus. And there's even reports out there that countries like Nigeria and Africa are saying that they are going to the international courts, that they want to sue China. That the world has now converged on China and saying, y'all got to give up some money. So,
well, Africa and Nigerians, they could kiss my butt on that because they got in bed with China.
Right,
okay?
Right.
You know, I'm going to keep it real. They got you good. You know, and it was real messed up when it's like the black folks getting treated the way they were in China.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, hold on. Y'all got a whole lot of Chinese people in Africa as this is going on, but y'all not kicking their ass out. Y'all not locking them. Y'all not doing them the way they doing your people. Y'all not getting your people on planes. But y'all done got in bed with them to build a railroad and all that. This $1 billion. Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, I
Okay.
actually produced a podcast, and I haven't even released it yet. I am with you. I believe that if the Chinese are treating my people like that, if I'm in their shoes, then I'm going to go to the Chinese and say, y'all got to get the hell out too. But this is the reason why they're probably not doing it like that. Now, there are African leaders that are upset with China, that are talking to them about the treatment of their people. But this is the reason why I think they're going to really come down hard. You know why? because they're in bid. The leaders of these countries in Africa, they're in bid economically with China. They got so much to lose if they kick the Chinese out. Now, do Africa have anything to lose by the Chinese kicking their people out? No, because Africa is not in a situation.
They have all the resources. China needs them.
Right.
They have all the resources.
But they don't have the mindset.
Okay, so it's like
the mindset.
No,
right. But
China wants them and needs them because China can only do so much. That's why
True.
they keep venturing out.
But the thing is,
like, guess what? We're the ones who depend on China for the goods, and the goods we get are cheap. But as a whole, in totality, China has run out of ways to make money. Wait, Basic, you were going to say something? That's right, you're the military one.
Okay.
You were going to say something about when I'm sorry, I went on a rant, and I'm so sorry because that just pisses me off when people don't understand, like, Africa got in bed with their ass and with the United Nations. They want to put them on. They wanted them to represent. Like, what? Are you insane? Like, really?
Well,
and then y'all can't do what you do to them? It's insane. I can't. What was you going to say, baby? You said something. You were in the military. What was you going to say, sister?
No, go ahead. But where I was going at is that...
I'm sorry.
Where I was going at is that you're right. China and the rest of the whole global world needs the continent of Africa. And I've said this before in the past. Imagine if Africa was to disappear off the face of the map. The whole world would be in trouble. We cannot survive without the continent of Africa. But what I was really going at is the fact that Africans are going over to China to work. The Chinese are going over to Africa to make money. That's the difference. They're not necessarily going over there the way Africans are going to China to just work a job. And, they're going over there to not only...
But Africans are also going over there for education. It's not just work. They're going for education as well.
But a lot of the Africans that have been kicked out of China are being mistreated. They're not necessarily what you would call the students per se. It's the people that are doing the ancillary type work. Even black people, Americans, black people from America that are over there, they're being treated poorly. You see, they can't go into the McDonald's. So you're absolutely right. China, you're right. You stand,
the students, they're getting locked in.
Right.
The students that are there, they're locked in. That's where that card we were talking about, that you have to be, have your card, and they're locked in to the point where they can't even go get groceries.
Right.
And this is what I'm saying. It's like, well, hold on. It's this however many $1 billion, on this deal for them to run a railroad. And here's the other part. And this is what pisses me off, is that you got in bed with them. You allowed them to... Well, I'm not going to say allowed. You decided, okay, we'll do business together. And in the end, see those Chinese people that are in Africa? They're there working on damn railroad. So you mean to tell me y'all need to sit up and say, we as Africans letting you in here, we got this deal, you can employ my people? I mean, my God, that's what I'm saying. We do the same shit over and over. Like, when do we just say, hey, just be cutthroat like everybody else?
Right. Because
how are you going to allow these people to come in and then ship all these Chinese people in your country for employment and your own people stay impoverished? Are you serious?
Well, I'll tell you why. One, you have, this already, and everybody knows this. There's quite a few quote unquote leaders in these countries who are corrupt, and they're just trying to grease their own pockets. Another thing I'm going to tell you why it's the same problem that we have in America that they have in Africa. One of the things that pacifies us is that both Africa and black people in America, we have both been culturally conditioned by religion, particularly Christianity. No disrespect to anybody out there that's Christian. That's your business. But I got to be honest. I got to tell the truth about this.
I know.
Always.
Tell the truth.
the religion pacifies you to do what? It teaches you to be forgiving. I must forgive.
Yep.
So therefore, black people in America, we are so forgiving, and we have Stockholm syndrome where we identify the person that victimizes us. You go to Africa, you got those mercenaries that go, not mercenaries, but missionaries. I'm sorry, that go over there, giving them food, giving them milk, and then they give them the religion that teaches them to be forgiving. And I was saying this to myself as I was driving home today from work. And if I'm wrong, I want somebody to correct me right now in the chat room. When you read the Bible, if you have read the Bible, I was saying to myself today, everything in the Bible talks about revenge, punishment, a chastisement if you don't follow God's word. If the Egyptians didn't let the people go, he was going to get a plague, a 7-day plague. I don't hear other than the issues around Jesus and all of that. You don't have a lot of stories in the Bible where God is talking about redemption for people. It's about, if you don't follow my word, it's an eye for an eye. Even when you look at the story of Noah, what happened? People didn't listen. So what did God do? He flooded their asses. You look at Babylon. They didn't listen. What did he do? He put fire on their ass. You don't have God. Seems to be God. If you look at the Bible, God is a God that punishes you, makes you pay a price for not following his words, right? But yet,
well,
they teach us the part
because
in the Bible.
Our people don't know who we are. That's why. So
our
people don't know who we are. They don't know that they're lost. They don't know that we are the chosen one. They don't know that they're not supposed to follow that doctrine. That's the problem.
But this is the problem, though. I think personally they push the forgiveness part on us and reserve the other parts of the Bible, because for those of you who have read the Bible, aren't there latent stories in the Bible in which God was a vengeful God, made people pay the price? What can anybody tell me? What are the stories in the Bible in which God gave redemption to someone?
Information man. You know what the problem is? Here's the thing. Everything you just said makes sense in terms of, you read it, this is what it says. Mm-hmm. And when I interjected and I said, our people are lost and don't know who we are, right?
I agree.
So when you're lost and you don't know who you are, right? So guess what? You think that all of that forgiveness and turn the other cheek pertains to you, okay? Why? This is the missing part to the question that you asked.
Okay.
For as Americans, okay, we come from a place of slavery. Whether we were taken from Africa or were born here, right? Because every slave didn't come from Africa. You know what I'm saying? We've traveled the world, the continent. So with that being said, okay, what happens is, I'm going to mess your head up for a minute. I hope y'all paying attention, because this is real shit.
You're not going to mess me up, because I'm an ordained minister. I already
no, I'm not.
Okay,
exactly where you going.
You're
this is not even going to be about the Bible, though.
Okay.
This right here, and I love that, sister, so I'm going to say this, and I really want to hear from you. Because this, what I'm saying, has nothing to do with the Bible. When I say I'm going to mess your head up, this is coming direct from, see, we got another female on the line, too. See, I'm a mother, okay? And I can sit and say that my people didn't trace back from Africa, right? However, my great-grandmother, she is a product of a slave master and, okay?
Creeping in there at
night.
Now,
here's my point. Yes, here's my point. If you don't come from a womb, W-O-M-B, womb, right? I'm saying this, our people don't come from a womb. We come from a tomb. Because as a mother, and this is why I'm going to mess your head up, because as a mother, here's the thing. Can you imagine a female being pregnant, don't know who the father is?
Wow.
go through that pregnancy stressed out of work because she might have other children. Her husband might have been killed, lynched, whatever. The stress of it all. I may have this child, and this child's going to get taken away. I may have this child, and this child ain't my husband. It's the master. Okay? All of these things, okay, being enslaved. See, what happens with the DNA of a person, it starts to mutate. It starts to change. Our cells adapt. You understand?
Right.
So this is coming from generation to generation. This is why our people are so psychologically messed up. And when I say that, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm saying this to explain us, and that we need to push back on any and everybody who tells us different. We have PSD. Was it how you say it?
It's PTSD.
Yeah,
It's
PTSD.
Post-traumatic syndrome.
PTSD.
From slavery. That shit has come down through our DNA. So even when people say, oh, but you weren't a slave, but you're missing it. We didn't come from a regular womb. We came from a tomb because your inside is already dead.
So you already were born in the world. You already came in the world under certain levels of stress and pain.
That's right.
Which psychologically,
and it's in our DNA. It is in our DNA, and you can look this shit up. Our DNA reconstructs according to the stress. And this thing that we're going through right now, there's a lot more of us that, and it goes to your core point. It's a lot more of our people. You know, when they talk about them numbers and all that, you know what we really dying from stress and from the other shit.
Well, check this out.
We're not dying from COVID.
No, check this out.
It's the stress of it all.
Check this out. I haven't even done this yet. I got to find my documents. They've already done studies to show that racism and all the things ills that we deal with is causing not only our mental health to be impacted, but our physical health. So you're absolutely right on top. Now let me stop. Let me just say this here. So if it's in our DNA, right? What you just said, then doesn't that make us acceptable to religious ideologies that prey on that teach us about issues around forgiveness, turn the other cheek? So if it's in our DNA that way, and religion reinforces that, because that's the first thing that they gave black people on the slave plantation when they allowed us to read was the Bible.
Absolutely.
And they would make sure that they would pick a Negro that would put out certain things in the Bible saying that you are meant to be a slave. And then they made the image of God a blonde-eyed, blue-eyed, blonde-haired white man as Jesus.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Then you begin.
Robert Powell.
Then you begin. This is real. You begin to identify Europeans as God, so therefore you would never want to strike against them. Because check this out: when the missionaries go to places like Africa, other places in the world, how do they usually dress? They dress in white. This is a very symbolic, very symbolic symbolism.
That's right.
In the colors that people are wearing. Now, with that said, and I brought this up earlier, this is why black people may risk their life going to church, where you've got preachers in Philadelphia who are risking their congregation's life by saying that, well, God's going to protect you from the coronavirus. Right? Come on at church, don't matter. And now when his congregation goes to church, and let's say some people come down with this or die, then where is the accountability of that preacher? Where is the accountability of Christianity? Where is the accountability of any religion across the board?
Christianity had nothing to do with that, or religion didn't have nothing to do with that. You know what that pastor that you just imitated right there? You know what that was?
That's how a lot of them say.
You know what that was? That wasn't no religion of Christianity. That was the religion of Trump, huh?
Oh, okay.
That was the ego. They had nothing to do with religion.
Well, you know why you're right about that? You know why you're right about that, because a lot of these preachers are concerned about their tithing. Now, Now,
That profit. That's right.
Now, right, because the dollar is recoverable and people are expendable. Now, out of respect for back to the basics, she's a minister, she's ordained. I'm not trying to say that a belief in God is wrong. I'm saying humans are the ones that mess it all up. It's humans that mess it all up and screw it up. Okay? Because it's humans that use the Bible to teach people certain things to make you either passive, right? Or to really truly awaken you. I believe black people, it was used to pacify us and put us to sleep in the way it was presented to us. That's just my opinion.
Now, religion was done for that. Religion did that. The Bible didn't do that.
Right.
Religion.
And who?
Because religion is a business.
Right. And who?
Religion is a business.
It's a business. It's an organized entity. And who runs religion? Right.
That's right.
That's why.
And when you read the Bible, you know what you're supposed to do. Right. If that's what you believe in, and I'm gonna say this and be quiet because I really want to hear from the sister. This is my understanding. Because I'm not religious. I don't claim nothing. I'm a spiritual being. You understand? And I learned this a long time ago when I was like 9, 10 years old. Okay? Well, my understanding when I pick that thing up and read it is that I should ask for understanding of what I am reading. Right. Okay? Right. I should ask for clarity of what I'm reading. Okay? Now, when I was guided with that information, this just solidified, that's why I'm not religious. Because you know why? Because I can read the same passage that information man will read, you sister, you will read, and guess what? We are not supposed to come out of that and go, this is what it meant. This is what it says. No, you know what's supposed to happen? You're supposed to get what's meant for you. I'm going to get what's meant for me. Right. That's the way it's supposed to happen. Right. Okay? Exactly. But the business of religion is not going to teach you that. No. Your pastor, because he's a part of about the business too, is not going to tell you that. What he's going to do is say, preachers. This is what it said. This is what God meant. This is what he said. This is what you're supposed to do right here. And then you know how he gonna get you caught up. You know how he gonna really get you twisted. He gonna say, look it up for yourself. You can read it right now. But if you don't have the understanding that you are supposed to take it in and get your information.
Hang on, sister. We got somebody that came in, but they need to turn something down because we got too much feedback.
Yeah, I was wondering what that cackalack is.
Too much feedback, please. Turn whatever you got on down because it's too much feedback. Let me just say this. We got some folks that's in the chat.
All right, minister. Wait, information man. I know it's your show. I'm sorry. Can we hear from the minister, though? Because we've been talking for a minute. I want to hear from her. Go ahead, girl.
I'm going to get to her, but I gotta give out some shout-outs, folks. I got some folks that came in. We got my man,
I'm sorry.
Brother Kingdom. Brother Kingdom came in. Peace to you, Brother Kingdom, that came in the house. We got Brother Gab, the real conversation in the house. We got NQ's World, thank you for being here again. No Nonsense is in the house. 2-Bar Evolution's in the house. Got my man Kingdom. It's Kingdom Podcast now. I love that, brother. The Great Black Shark's in the house. I want to thank everybody that's still in here hanging out with us tonight. I know it's late night for a lot of you. We got Jackson in the house, Brother Jackson. What's great show, he says. Infoman, thanks a lot. I thank everybody for coming out. We got RY. Thank you, Sister RY, for being in the house tonight. We got Jackson. Thank you for being here. Tim, thank you for being here. Let me see who else is in the house. I just want to make sure I shout a few people out. We got McKinnon is in the house. Thank you for being here again. The Great Black Shark. So everybody that's come in, thank you for being here. Now, for what we've been waiting for, because I think somebody else came on the line as well, and I'll get to them, but let's get to the ordained minister, back to the basics. Go ahead, sister. You heard us run our mouth about a lot of stuff. Now, where do you stand on all of this? Go ahead.
First of all, I'm not offended because I'm pretty much on the same continuum. I used to be religious. Like I said, I said it before in your chat. Like I said, shoot, I had to back away from the black church. I said, no, y'all done lost your, y'all done lost your mind. What is y'all talking about?
Tell the truth.
So, and I can understand why people don't even want to go because the tithes and offering, and sow that seed. I got time for that. Shoot, people are actually dying out here, and you hear y'all talking about a freaking collection plate. I found out. I said, "Shoot!" I'm like, mm-mm. But there is a difference between religious and spiritual. That part of this. See, I'm an ordained minister.
Okay.
The Most High didn't call me to preach. No, he said no. This is your lane. You're gonna stay right here.
Okay. What is?
But it's just.
Let me ask your opinion.
It's not a balance. It's not a balanced gospel, though.
Okay.
Because most of them preach so much about love and forgiveness that they forget. I'm like, yeah, because.
Wow. Are you still
God
there?
And he's a holy God, and yeah, people forget that. I'm like, you realize that people like he ordered people to go in and kill like a whole groups of people and their animals and their livestock. And to not leave anything, like nothing.
Wow. Let me ask you this question. And let me say peace to Brother Art, New Style TV, and everybody in the chat room. I know there's content creators in there. Check each other's channels out. Give each other support. Before I end the program, but let me ask you this question, sister. What is your thoughts about the ministers that you're hearing in the social media that are giving sermons and saying, there's nothing to fear? They're using, to me, they're preying on black people's spiritual or religious beliefs emotionally when they say things like,
yeah, they are.
COVID-19 ain't going to get you. Come here, be gathered together. God's going to protect you. What is your opinion about preachers? Because there's preachers doing that. They had an article about that today. And there are some churches out there, folks, don't get me wrong, where they are testing their congregation. But then there's some out there, some suckerfoot churches, suckerfoot preachers. Let me just say that. Jack-a-leg preachers who are focused on economics only, and they're putting their congregation at risk. And my thing is, if their congregation gets sick or members, the Jack-a-leg preacher should be held accountable. What is your thoughts?
Oh, they will be held accountable because, first of all, some of them aren't preachers at all. They're agents of Satan. And I don't take that back whatsoever. They're not a man or woman of God, first of all. They're just masquerading. Because you telling me that you're going to put, as far as the structure, you're over the congregation and you're going to put your people at risk. So the love of the Most High is not even in you. So you're not even of the Most High. They're just not, first of all. So that's how I feel about that. They're not even who they say that they are. They're just masquerading. They're not preachers.
Okay.
No, I'm not bound. I'm not bound by 501c.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now, before I end the show tonight, there's somebody else on the line. Who is on the other line?
Well, you remember a lot of those people that went out all over the country and they said that they're tired of being in that their rights are being violated. They're bringing all these guns, out there.
I don't know who is that talking out there. Who is on the line?
Saying that, you're going to shoot the coronavirus.
Okay. I don't know who that is on the line, but if you're on the line,
oh, hello.
Oh, brother, I can hear you talking in the background. I can hear the ribs and the popcorn popping in the back. What's going on, man? What's going on? Who's calling first of all?
My name is Owate.
Okay. All right, brother.
Owate. I'm your black brother.
Okay. Speak. You're a black brother.
I am your black brother. Yes.
Okay. All right, you're not a troll now, are you?
Is it possible, black brother, for you to speak up just a little louder? I have an earpiece in and I can barely hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Owate.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead. What's on your mind tonight? What's on your mind?
Yeah. What is on my mind is this: a lot of people take even the word of God for granted.
Mm-hmm.
For example, during the time of Jesus, as we learned in the Bible, if the Bible is true, Satan tempted Jesus and say, "Oh, if you are the Son of God, fall from this pinnacle and fall down, that the angels of God can carry you." Jesus rebuked that Satan and said, "No, you cannot tempt your something like that. You cannot tempt your God. You cannot tempt your God." So, but believers these days can say, "Oh, yeah, I can do it. After all, I can do it in the name of God." But the wisdom that Jesus put to that
Mm-hmm.
was that to rebuke Satan.
Mm-hmm.
But these days, pastors, because of pride,
Yes.
because of their maybe their dignity in the church,
Mm-hmm.
they will feel as if they talk to God directly,
Right.
while they are just under the grace of God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's my view.
Okay. No.
It's
Hey,
because of pride.
brother, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that
Uh-huh.
we should not have a belief in a higher power. I'm a spiritual person. I'm not even questioning that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
you sound like you're from the continent. What part of the world do you come from? Now, you're in the States. You're in America, right?
Yes.
Okay, but you sound like you got the taste of the motherland in your tongue. What part of the world?
Exactly.
Okay.
Nigeria.
Okay. Now, because this is not disrespectful. So my question to you, brother, because I know as a black man in America, there was a certain way that they introduced religion to us. In my opinion, well, not opinion, it's historical facts. They would introduce us in a way to pacify us. Now, in Nigeria, where you're from, and in the continent, be honest here now. Do you or do you not believe that in some cases the religion itself, the belief in God is powerful, but the way it's presented can pacify people in a way that allows other people to take advantage of you? Because when we talk about forgiveness, and you sound like you're a learned man when it comes to your Bible. When it talks about forgiveness, I know growing up, when I read the Bible, when I studied the Bible, there's so many stories of God punishing people, putting a chastisement on people, not being a vengeful God, and not being a God that was looking for redemption when you didn't follow his words and his words only. Make some of that make sense to me. You see missionaries and folks going over to the continent, and before you know it, they give you the Bible, brother. They give you the Bible and they got your land. Make that make sense to me. Is it the person and how they present the Bible? Can the individual themselves, as we said tonight, be the ones that are the problem? Who's presenting the word to you could be the problem.
Should I come in?
Yes. I know I said a whole bunch there, but just go ahead, brother.
Yeah.
You got the floor. You got the floor.
Okay. To say the fact, the person that brought out the message,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the person can bring the message. They brought the message to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
One, to take away everything we have, to take away our children.
That's
to take
what I was
away our
saying.
wives.
Thank you.
They take away our fathers, our uncles, our sisters. They rake the land because of religion. They put the Bible to us. For example,
Mm-hmm.
in Ghana, in all these areas that they took people from Africa down to America, to Caribbean, to Europe,
Mm-hmm.
people were in the dungeon downstairs, and
Wow.
there is a church on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
People are crying downstairs in the dungeon while they are clapping and worshiping God.
Wow.
Is that how it's supposed to be? No. They presented, they said that you have to forgive your enemy.
Mm-hmm.
The day came that we shouldn't fight them. They preached to us we shouldn't fight them. But on top of that, they gave us the Bible and took our people, destroyed us, separated us, divided Africa into pieces that buy guns and give to other people to fight against people so that they can get more people as slaves.
Okay.
So that's what they did.
Thank you for that,
That's
brother.
what they did.
Look,
so I am not happy. No African. For example,
mm-hmm.
The tribe in Yoruba land in Nigeria,
mm-hmm.
part of Nigeria and Benin Republic, and even Togo. They actually they hate answering anything English name because they raid the land. If you hear of Cuba today, Yoruba people from Cuba, majority of Yoruba people are in Cuba, Brazil. That's where they send them to.
Yeah, the majority of black people who were sent out, who were stolen out of the continent
in Cuba.
So a lot of them went to Brazil. The majority of black folks who came from the continent went to Brazil. Tribe. Only about 8% of black people or Africans came from that situation into America, which is what you have here today in America, ADOS.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this question before I come to a conclusion tonight. Mm-hmm. I've got to ask you this. You've been seeing what has been happening in China with the way I did a video about this. I haven't released it yet, but I did some research. The things that the Chinese government is doing to the brothers of Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, as you spoke of, in China, and then the history of what they've done in their theater, their depictions, their stereotypes, their commercials, all this stuff. Personally, brother, what they're doing to brothers and sisters out there, I personally believe, and some brothers and sisters that are over there working who are not over there in college and school are sleeping on the streets. I personally believe that the leadership in the continent should kick those Chinese out of there. If you're going to treat us like this, y'all got to go too. And the sister QT1 was correct when she corrected me tonight. She said that the Chinese need Africa more than Africa needs China because Africa has all the resources. If the continent was to disappear off the face of the earth tomorrow, this planet would be doomed because even our cell phone, the cell phone that I'm talking to you on through my system here, has has the coltan or whatever, the minerals to operate computers come from out of that soil. And without that, we'll be in the goddamn Flintstone Stone Age again. Now, am I right or wrong, brother? Well, I guess I'm wrong. He didn't say anything.
You are not.
Okay.
You see, without Africa, one woman from Ghana, she was just saying this on YouTube 2 days ago, a day ago, that without Africa, the whole world will not function.
You're right.
Yes. Without Africa, the central Congo, Brazzaville and Congo, Kinshasa, these two countries, they produce the material, 67% of the material they use on cell phones throughout the whole world. But China, they are trying to, recolonize economically the entire Africa.
Yes, sir.
Yes, they are trying to recolonize Africa economically because of what? They come and give us cheap loans. And those loans to African leaders, they buy them over. But, for example, in Nigeria, about 5 years ago, somebody, the then president, went to China to launch their own satellite. Imagine a country going to China to launch their own satellite. And that satellite didn't even... So, yes, most of the African leaders, that's the reason why even what they did during the 16th, 15th centuries
Mm-hmm.
was this even happening now in another dimension.
Right.
In that China, they come and give us petty loans. Through those loans, they now what? They can come and buy whatever they want to buy from us.
Right.
And when they come to Africa they buy lands in Africa. When they come to Africa, they bring their people down to Africa. Majority of people.
Yeah, that's the thing. Let me just stop you right there, brother. I actually do have a serious problem with the fact that the Chinese are going to Africa in the continent. They're doing work, building roads, all that stuff, but they're not. They're bringing their people to do the work and to make the money. That's a problem. That's a problem. And the leadership over there has to do better, because like I said, as I get ready to get to a conclusion tonight, the sister QT1 told us tonight very clearly that the Chinese need Africa actually more than you all need them. Your leadership may be in business with them to build up the infrastructure of the society. I get that. But the Chinese, if you go to China, let's be honest, they got pollution over there. Their environment their human rights treatment of their people is really terrible. And they're getting in bed with the continent because they know that the continent is the next big thing that's going to boom economically. And they're getting in there right now. Just like in let's look at World War I. What was the reason why World War I was fought? It was because the whole world was fighting over who was going to control Africa, the resources, everything. The French. That's why the French got over there, right? You know this better than me because that's your homeland. You know the history better than I do, most likely, right? The French. All these people were over there butting it. The Belgians coming over there with their nonsense. That guy Rhodesia, named after that idiot. They the idiot. What's that? They call it the Rhodes Scholarship. The Rhodesia, named after a individual who was a tyrant. And that's when they changed the name, right? To the country Zimbabwe, which they called it Rhodesia at one time. If I'm right or wrong about that, brother. So you got these tyrants. So thank you. It was France. So my concern deep down inside is that I don't want the Chinese to grab the complete economic bag over there and do exactly what has happened historically through history. So once again, hey, brother, we'll have to have you call back in. I'll have to probably get you next time. If you can, brother, my email, I'll put it in the chat room. You're going to have to contact me so that I can get you back on and do a one-to-one interview with you, get you on the screen. I'll be using the other StreamYards or something like that. Get you on the screen. I can actually get people on the screen on this that I'm using right now, too.
Can you take my number? My number, please?
Let me see if I got my pen right now. I'll take your number down right now. I'll give you a call and we'll set something up. What's the number? If you don't mind, I mean, people.
76.
What is it?
763.
763.
400.
400.
64.
64.
53.
53.
Yes.
All right. I'll be in contact with you. We'll be talking more about these issues. I appreciate you coming on board. I'm about to call it quits tonight. This has been a great discussion. Do we have Back to the Basics still on? I want to say what's up to her still if she's on, or even QT1. If both these sisters are still on the line, I want them just to say their last words tonight before I come to a conclusion. So who's still on with me in terms of the ladies?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. So, well, I didn't know. Y'all probably said them two dudes is long-winded. Let's get the hell out of here. But anyway, give your last words for the night, sisters. So, because I'm gonna.
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm just gonna read what I wrote in the chat. Okay. And that'll be it. Reminder: no test unless necessary. No protest. No vaccine. We are not at higher risk. No socializing when they open. Use the stat against them. That's all I have to say.
Right on. You
I'm
always telling
sorry,
the
and
truth.
thank you, brother, for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, look, everybody. When I open up the phone lines, there's no time for people to be shy. I mean, come on in, and also too, this lets you know, QT1 and everybody out there. I do want to get some of the people that have been coming in my chat room faithfully supporting me. I do want to give you guys links to come on the panel and talk. So that's like, I'm talking about, brothers like the Great Black Shark, yourself. I want you guys to come on board, and start talking about these issues on board. So what I really want to do, and I talked about this before, but I haven't really put it in action. I really need to get people's emails, especially the mods. I need to, because I've been thinking about, now you can put membership on your channel and all that kind of stuff, but I really want to get with the mods and make sure I get everybody's email address, because you know how funny style YouTube is. Today you on here today, tomorrow you're gone. They snatch you up in the middle of the night. You come back and you be like, where's my channel? You violated YouTube's, you know how they get down. You're here today, you're gone tomorrow. So, and back to the basics now. Go ahead, sister. Your last words for the night.
May the Most High be with you. Peace, love, and blessings. That's all I got.
And let me correct that.
I love it.
I shouldn't have said last words. That's not a good energy to put out. Your great words, because when you say last words, it almost sounds like you're saying the person ain't going to be alive tomorrow. I mean, no, I don't like that. Put out the positive.
Oh, wow.
Put out the.
I know what he meant when he said it.
Yeah, words are very powerful.
Words have power.
Yeah, words have a lot of power. So I don't want to hear, not your last words, but your powerful words. So I thank you for being here. And if the brother is still on, who gave me the number, and we were talking about Africa and all that good stuff. You have any last words if you're still on, brother? Not.
I thank him too. I forgot that. Can I say thank you to him? Because you know what? He validated exactly what I was saying about the infrastructure, about how they were being treated, about how they have more of what China needs, and vice versa. I'm so grateful that somebody called in, and, from that demographic.
Right.
Because like I said, I listen to people, but I also research. I'm not going to take you at face value. Yeah, I can love you to death, but I just like to research, because if I got to speak about you to someone to pass on a message, I want to be solid in that.
Right. This is the reason why what you're saying is true. The reason why we underestimate and undervalue and marginalize the continent, because we've been culturally conditioned to look at Africa as this jungle, and Africa is not a jungle. There's more jungle in South America than in the continent. But we've been taught in America all this Tarzan movie shit, this negative stuff. So therefore, when we're taught this culturally conditioned, then that's why we'll say China has more to lose than Africa, when in fact it's China, because we've been taught to undervalue the continent. And guess what, sisters and brother, and everybody in the chat room, in America, black people do it to each other. We undervalue each other.
Yep.
That's why we're so quick, even on YouTube, to down each other when we are down on each other on YouTube, for example, or just in general, because there's a level of lack of respect that we have, and I think it comes from it comes from a byproduct of the world that we've grown up in, the system that we've grown up in, and what we see on mass television, news, radio, the whole 9 yards. So I want to thank y'all all for being here tonight. I appreciate everybody who hung in there with me when I was having some technical problems. It was just some weird stuff that happened in the beginning of the program. With my stuff, I went offline. I came back on. It was really weird, but you know what? We made it through tonight. I had two wonderful dynamic sisters that came on, QT1 and Back to the Basics, and we got into some I thought it was really deep talk tonight, very philosophical, but real. And once again, I'm just putting it back out there in everyone's mind that them opening up this country it does put us, in my opinion, it does put us at some risk, especially if you risk yourself going out there, catching something that you can give back to your family. Just use caution, use your protection, be cautious. Don't fall for the okie doke or the banana in the tailpipe. Everybody, good night. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Peace. Oh, most importantly, like I told you guys before, I'm in Facebook jail right now. For until July. I can't. Well, this is what happened. This is what happened. I dropped
but you're such a nice guy. I don't understand.
This is what happened. I'm a member of I'm signed up for a lot of groups in Facebook. And so I put videos on these different groups. And I guess YouTube didn't like a video that I did. They didn't like a video. They put me in Facebook jail. I can drop videos on my personal page, my channel page, all of that. But I can't drop them in some of the YouTube groups that I'm in. That helps the views. It helps the channel grow, all that. I can't get the content out. So that's why I'm asking everybody.
Wow.
You can actually take my videos and put them in your social media groups. But I can't because Facebook says you're on toddy until July 20th. See, Facebook is they're a joke. You can put legitimate stuff. You can put stuff that happened in history to black people, legitimate stuff. And they will block you and put you on Facebook jail for legitimate stuff. But yet they worked along in solidarity with Cambridge Analytica to play around with your personal information to push the Donald Trump narrative or whatever political narrative and got away with it. And then you put a video that's legitimate about history that did happen, not a lie. And if they don't like it, it doesn't fit their narrative that they're trying to push, which means there is no free speech on their platforms. They are trying to censor us. So until July 22nd, I can't put videos in my Facebook groups, only on my channel and my personal show page, the Information Man show page. But you can put them in anything because, and so I'm just letting you know, this is the games that this is I think as we move forward into the future, we're going to be in a stream war. What do I mean by that? A battle where we're going to see people's channels get taken down, not because they doxed somebody or they lied, just because they want to censor what black people have to say. Period. They're going to get us on Twitter. They're going to get us wherever they can get us. Right. Now, check this out.
It's already happening.
Oh, you're right. I meant to bring this up, and thank you for saying that, too. Diamond and Silk have been canceled. I think Fox got rid of them. They're blocked off of Twitter. They are like lap dogs. When they get tired of you, what do you do with a lap dog? A lap dog. You pet it, and when you get tired of it, you do what? You throw it off your lap. Well, Fox News got tired of their antics and got rid of them. They're not viable anymore. See how they use black people?
They don't want that. They don't want that Rona. They don't want that Rona. Black folks got that Rona. That's why.
Right, but they were using these women to push, using them when they need them, and when they no longer are viable for the use, they throw them to the wind. And then that's why black people, we have a habit, once again, the forgiveness factor again, we have a habit of forgiving black folks that betray us, that come back to us after they were cooning and buck dancing. Then we embrace them. I think that we should not embrace them. What was the thing that the Haitians did when they beat the French? One of the reasons why they were able to beat the French is that they got rid of the coons and the buck dancers and the betrayers that were amongst them. They got rid of them. Okay? And part of black people's history is that we've allowed too many of these sellouts to walk right out of slavery into Reconstruction and Jim Crow into where we are today. Like the Jesse Lee Petersons. That's right. I said his name. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Peace to you.
Oh, okay. Look into Big O, just so you know. And
okay.
Bigo with BIGO. That's a live stream thing. I don't know if it's through Microsoft or something, but you won't have all those constraints from what I've read so far. So just check it out. I'll remind you later. Peace, everybody, and thanks again for having me. Oh, somebody wrote in there. Bigo.
Oh, okay.
BIGO. Yep.
Bigo. Wait a minute. Let me look at that again before I get out of here. Bigo. It's just Bigo. That's it.
Yeah, BIGO. So Shalonda put it in here too.
Okay. I can write this down. BIGO. Oh, I'm
GO.
Oh, you know what? I think I've heard. I'm gonna check that out. Thank you for that information. See, this is.
And there's also BitChute. I put that in the chat too.
Okay. Wow, this is good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff. All right, everybody. We're
there
out
we go.
of here.
Yes,
Peace.
I hope that we can do it again. All right. Peace, love, everybody. Stay safe.
All right, everybody. Peace. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight and hanging out with me. And it was a great conversation with the sisters and the brother that called in. Thank you. I'm sorry about some of the technical problems in the beginning. The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Information is power.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Information is power. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Tell the truth.
In the White House, I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah.
Jackalope creatures.
The Information Man Show.
In the White House, I'm not gonna say his name.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. Peace, everybody.